Hey, welcome to the third episode of Fun Facts. I'm David, and in this video I will talk about some interesting and surprising facts about the Arctic Circle. Before moving further, kindly like this video, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell icon so that you do not miss any upcoming videos. One of the most intriguing and scenic places in the world is the Arctic Circle, as one of the most fascinating areas on the planet. Most people think of the Arctic as a barren region covered in snow and ice throughout the entire year. This is actually far from the truth. As much as 90% of the Arctic has almost no snow in the summer. The Arctic region is a lot more than ice and bears. You're probably aware that a total Arctic ice melt could result in a global sea rise of more than 6 meters. To know the most amazing and weird things about the Arctic Circle, you need to watch this video till the end. So let's get on to another amazing fun facts video. Number 20. ARKTOS. The word Arctic comes from the Greek word for bear, ARKTOS. It's said this refers not to polar bears, but to two constellations that can be seen in the northern sky: Ursa Minor, Little Bear, and Ursa Major, Great Bear. Number 19. Mysterious holes. There are huge and mysterious holes in the Arctic Circle. Researchers say that they have never seen anything like that before, and they assume that animals like seals and bears might be the cause of these holes. They might have broken through the ice in search of food or anything, and the holes may have been produced, but it may be anything else that's hidden from all of us. Number 18. Bird poop helps keep all of the region cool. Can you really imagine birds' poop? Yes, it is a true fact. The researchers showed that migratory birds could indeed account for annual spikes in smelling salts particles. The bird poop releases ammonia gas, which further reacts with sulfuric acid and water vapor to form clusters of molecules in the atmosphere. The birds are accidentally helping to keep their summer home cool. Number 17. Travelling of grey whales for food. Grey whales move in huge pods as they travel more than 12,000 miles from Mexico to Alaska and back. With a feeding pattern that is unique among whales, the grey whale consumes bottom-dwelling crustaceans and krill by turning on its side and scooping up huge amounts of sediment from the sea floor. The whale isolates the food by filtering out the water and silt through its strainer-like baleen. Number 16. Midnight sun. The Arctic gets 24 hours of sunlight each summer, yet 24 hours of darkness each winter. Midnight sun is a name given to the sun when it tends to be seen at midnight during the Arctic summer. At the poles, both day and night are theoretically 6 months long, though the actual periods of light and dark are modified by the twilight periods. Number 15. Santa's theory. In Rovaniemi, the Arctic Circle goes through the Santa Claus village, found 8 kilometers north of the downtown area, where it is clearly marked. Santa Claus Village in Lapland is a popular place to cross the Arctic Circle. The renowned political cartoonist Thomas Nast started illustration of Santa Claus as a feature of a promoting effort for Harper's Weekly during the 1860s. Number 14. Presbyornis fossils. It was one of the first Anseriforms. It is pictured as a duck having long neck and legs. It is described weighing several hundred pounds. Fossils of this carnivore were found on the island of Ellesmere. The confirmation comes from a new study by the Chinese researchers that describes the first and only fossil evidence from the Arctic Circle of a massive bird. The evidence is a single fossil toe bone of the 6-foot-tall bird from Ellesmere Island above the Arctic Circle. Number 13. Permafrost is melting 70 years ahead of schedule. Permafrost is ground that stays frozen for at least 2 years. It underlies about 15% of the unglaciated northern hemisphere and serves as a basic role in the exchange of carbon from living things to the air. In the Canadian Arctic, layers of permafrost that researchers expected to stay frozen for at least 70 years have effectively started melting. Once frozen surface is now sinking and dotted with melt ponds. Number 12. Narwhal, unicorn of the sea. One of the most charming facts about the Arctic is that it's the only place on Earth you will find the narwhal. These creatures are known as the unicorn of the sea. Male narwhals have a straight tusk projecting from the front of their head. These can grow to over 3 meters in length. It is one of the most fascinating species found in the Arctic. Number 11. No penguins. Ice and no penguins? How is that possible? These cute little creatures are not found in the Arctic region. They can be found in the Southern Ocean, Antarctica. In Antarctica, penguins and their nest sites are left relatively untouched by humans, and they are left to breed and live in peace. African penguins have been pushed to the brink by humans, taking their guano for fertilizer and trampling their burrows. Many of the southern island species were hunted for oil until the last century. The climate conditions of Antarctica are suitable for penguins. Number 10. Loss of sea ice. In 2018, the Arctic Ocean encountered its second most loss of sea ice. Parts of Greenland were exposed to open ocean for the first time in millennia. Sea ice decides Earth's environment. It is very splendid and reflects back to space 80% of the daylight that strikes it. The dark surface of liquid ocean in comparison absorbs about 90% of solar radiation. The loss of sea ice poses a grave threat to polar bears. Number 9. Who was the first man to reach the North Pole? In 1909, Robert Peary claimed to be the first man to reach the North Pole. However, experts believe that it was his assistant, an African-American man named Matthew, who actually deserves the distinction. At the time when Peary and Henson were approaching the destination, Peary wasn't well. He was struggling with frostbite, leaving him unable to walk. Henson went ahead on foot and accidentally overshot his destination, so technically, Henson reached the North Pole 45 minutes before Peary. Number 8. Arctic comes to life during winter. In some habitats of the Arctic Ocean, wildlife is significantly more dynamic during the locale's long ruined winter than it is in the late spring. According to a recent study in Current Biology, abundance, growth and reproduction in habitats were the same or at higher level than in warmer months. Researchers counted lots of plankton and crustaceans that aren't often observed in the summer. Number 7. Intergovernmental Arctic Forum. Countries having borders within the Arctic Circle are part of the Arctic Council. According to their websites, it is the only circumpolar forum for political discussions on Arctic issues, involving all the Arctic states and with the active participation of its indigenous people. The Council works to find a solution for the environmental and social issues faced by people and wildlife living there. Number 6. At Russian Arctic. The first inhabitants who came to this land more than 30,000 years ago are still living here. Native people groups of the Russian Arctic are addressed by 17 different ethnic groups. These groups of people vary from one another by native language, traditions, attachments, cultural and sociological institutions, and values. Generally speaking, native peoples groups of the Arctic are very few, rarely exceeding 50,000 people. Number 5. Auroras at Arctic. Perhaps the most striking and astonishing wonders of nature are the auroras of polar lights that light the sky in the form of arches, arcs, and swaying curtains of various colours. A captivating sight that can last from an hour to several days. This iridescent gleam happens from the crash of charged particles from the sun with particles and molecules of gases in the upper, dainty piece of Earth's environment. Sometimes auroras arrive at such a giant force that they cover gigantic spreads of sky. The 1872 aurora embraced almost the whole northern half of the globe, and in 1938 it could be observed throughout the European part of Russia. Number 4. Mammoth fossils. Significant accumulations of mammoth bones are found only in the Russian Arctic, in the north of Siberia, the far north, and Chukotka. Over the millennia, the mammoth bones don't have any adjustments in composition and properties, however nearly do not vary from current ivory. The most precious is the big tusk, which has a stylish texture within the shape of a miniature mesh, in addition to stunning shades of yellow and pinkish tones. From the homogeneous bone tissue of the mammoth tusk carvers create unique carvings. In the last century, the export of tusks from northeastern Siberia were 32 tons per year. That is about 220 pairs of tusks. Nowadays, the mammoth bone is in excessive demand, both at the home and overseas market. Charges range from $30 to $300 per kilogram. Thus, one big tusk of the best quality can cost $15,000 to $20,000. Today, the biggest Arctic tusk supplying areas are Western Siberia, the Northern Siberian lowland, and Central Timor. Quite numerous mammoth tusks are located here. However, those stocks are running low. Number 3. The quest for the Northwest Passage. It would save untold time and money in trade between Europe and Asia, was one of the world's hardest maritime challenges, requiring a hazardous journey through tens of thousands of giant icebergs. It was not successfully navigated until 1906, when legendary Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen and his crew made the voyage from Greenland to Alaska. It took 3 years. Number 2. Travelling around Arctic. You can't compare the Arctic to anywhere else on the planet. Small pockets of human life survive in this huge land of ice caps, mountains, glaciers, and polar bears in a way that is hard to imagine. They live with simple pleasures and minimal mod cons. In some places, a plane brings provisions once a month, and the rest of the time, they hunt seals and fish. Huskies are the transport method of choice. Number 1. Feed for sea life. When the ice of the Arctic Ocean melts, it releases nutrients and organisms into the water, which promotes the growth of algae. The algae feed on zooplankton, which serves as food for the creatures living in the sea. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. If you found this video interesting, do like and subscribe. And don't forget to give comments and provide us with your valuable feedback. Plus, you want to suggest a topic for the next video? Feel free to tell us. See you in the next video, and until then, stay tuned to Fun Facts.